Okay, well now we're changing hats again. Not only are we're subbing for Andy, he's carrying on somewhere in some other group.
Carrying on?
Yeah, carrying on somewhere with some other group. So we're here and we're also the soloists. So I thought, because it's December, that I would do songs about seasons and, you know, that get to the end of the year here and start reflecting. So that's the theme today for me, seasons and change. Excuse me. There we go. And if you know this song and you want to sing along in the chorus, please do.
Yesterday, a child who came
Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. I'm Maggie Erpin. I'm a staff minister of this wonderful Center for Spiritual Living. And let's come together in a prayer, shall we? So if you'd like, put your feet on the ground. Take everything off your lap, wherever you are. Close your eyes if you wish to. And come into this moment with me right now. And this is only the moment of power. All power is ours right here and right now. And as we move through this holiday season, we see compassion. We see love. We release all perception of chaos or unease, and we bring peace, harmony, and joy into this beautiful, phenomenal season. We truly light up with the love of God. And everywhere we go, we take this beautiful, lit being with us. And that's what we project into this world. This unconditional love, this divine power and intelligence that knows everything. And it guides us, and we now see differently. We see love. We see God working in mysterious and wonderful ways. And we bring that into our heart, and we share that throughout this whole season and from this point forward. This is the only truth that is, and with gratitude for knowing that, for coming into that understanding, we release these words into that wonderful law that takes it and develops it and manifests it right here and now. As we focus on it, it becomes brighter and brighter and moves farther and farther and encompasses this world. This is the truth, and we are grateful for it. And together we say, and so it is.
Good morning. My name is Robert Thompson. I am a licensed practitioner and ministerial graduate from the Center for Spiritual Living, and I am happy to welcome you all here to the Center for Spiritual Living at Simi Valley, everybody who is here in person and online. Thank you for being here. We are a welcoming, inclusive spiritual community dedicated to teaching the science of mind. We provide tools to improve your life and to help create a world that works for everyone. Our practitioner today is Reverend Maggie Erpin. She gave us that wonderful opening treatment, and she will be available in the practitioner room over here on the side, and all of the available practitioners will be up on the stage afterwards. And if you are watching online, there is a button on our website that you can click to get a prayer request. Wednesday will be Paulette Jones speaking on the history of the Hebrew people according to the Hebrew Bible. So this is the precursor to the Christmas season. So I'm going to be there, and we'll see what's going on. She's a wonderful speaker. Here is a list of everything that is happening at the center this week. Please note that it's not up there, so I'll tell you. The CSL singers for the candle lighting service will be practicing at 12 o'clock next week. Okay? So if you want to be singing, then show up, and I'm sure that there'll be a way to include you. There are also no self-defense classes in December, and you have information about all of this in your programs and also out on the kiosk. Dr. Jim's final class. It was not American Beauty, it was Dr. Strangelove. That was the movie. But there is a spiritual aspect to that, and he's going to be talking about all of this. You can still show up, whether you saw the movie or not. Please. Take this time. He's only going to be here for a few more weeks. And then today, after the service at 12:45, the loungers are going to be having our annual potluck. That is open to everybody, so bring something to share. If you didn't bring anything to share, you can run out and get something, or you can just show up and eat because there's always way too much food. And Shane will be here. She's here somewhere. And she will have jewels for sale, the gems, just in time for shopping. See, she did make it. So there we have it. And I have no information about that my own self. Yes, it does. Well, apparently it's Friday. See, those of you who need to know already know. See? See, so it's Friday. There we go. Okay. Now, the other thing we need to know is that the book sale is still going on. If you want to get some gifts for people, there are all kinds of books about all kinds of things in the bookstore. And also, be sure to get Dr. Jim's daily guides in the Science of Mind magazine. And there's also the last edition ever. I was going to ask them to put like on heavy reverb, like yours will go ever. The last edition ever of Creative Thought. I am proud to say that I have had treatments published in Creative Thought. So it is a worthy thing to get. And, but wait, there's more. Applications are available. Can you all read this? Okay. So for the Minister Candidate Selection Recommendation Committee, details are available at the friendship table. Because there's this big long thing here. I'm not going to read everything because basically it says, look it up at the friendship table. Now, another thing available at the friendship table is we have the senior gift requests at the friendship table. So if you would like to bring some joy into the life of a senior this holiday season, you can get one of their gift requests and take it home and return the gift to the center here by the 21st. Okay, so that's just in a couple, that's next week. That's next week, okay. And next Sunday, the Spirit Lights Teen Group will hold a holiday bake sale, because what are the holidays without baked goods, right? So we're going to have baked goods so they can get funds for winter camp. And again, that's another wonderful thing that we do for the youth here. It's if you ask them, it's just an amazing experience. So bring your sweet tooth and your generosity. And Dr. Jim, I heard something about he's going to retire or move away or something. And there will be a celebration. It's going to be at the Junkyard on January 10th. Tickets are available, again, at the friendship table. So if you want to know what's going on, go to the friendship table, talk to them, or go to the kiosk out there, and we have a calendar of everything, because there's a lot going on. So get your tickets. And it also says flyers are available. Where? At the friendship table. That's right. Okay. If you are a first-time visitor, welcome. We have a guest book, not at the friendship table, but actually out by the door when you come in. There's a little stand there that has the table, and there's a sign-up book on that. You can sign in, and we will send you emails about what is happening at the center. And also there is a packet that you can pick up yourself, or if you want to talk to one of the ushers, they will get one for you and bring it to you. And we just want you all to know, whether this is your first time or you've been here a lot or you're watching online or whatever, that you are our honored guests and you are welcomed and loved. Thank you. And now, Dr. Jim.
Thank you, Rob. Oh, thank you, Ron. So let's have a little quiet time. Invite you to take a nice deep breath and settle in. Just let your breathing take you within, toward that center space, that heart space. Releasing the cares and concerns of the day and simply being in a space of peace and calm and serenity. And as you move into that center space, letting go of anything that just doesn't belong in this moment, setting it aside if only temporarily. Feeling at ease, feeling connected. And I invite you to think as we contemplate the holiday season that is upon us, beginning with Hanukkah this week and Christmas the week after, the New Year. Whatever it is you celebrate or however you celebrate. As you contemplate these next few weeks, what feelings come up for you? Perhaps they're feelings of great joy and connection as you anticipate a celebratory holiday season. Perhaps this is a time that's difficult for one reason or another. Or perhaps it's something of a mixture. So my question to you is, if as you sit here right now in this moment, on this day, and you contemplate the weeks ahead, what would it take for you to have a joyful experience? What would it take for you to move through these next weeks in a way that truly prepared you for an amazing 2015? One of great fulfillment, great accomplishment. What would need to be released for that to occur in your life? And as you think about what it is that would need to be released, the next question would be, what are you ready to release? To let go of? Maybe it's an idea or a concept that has caused you to view this season with some kind of resistance or fear. Maybe you'd like your holiday to be a little less commercialized. Maybe you'd like quiet time to remember those who may have made their transition in the past and who you are reminded of this time of year. Maybe you'd like just not to feel so busy and rushed. Maybe you'd like to spend the first few weeks of January energized and full of life rather than in recovery mode. Whatever that is, whether anything that you would like to change, know that you're in a place of power right now to change it. It may be a change in behavior, a change in a practice, or it may just be a change in an attitude towards something. Maybe you can participate cheerfully in something that you're in resistance about. Maybe your participation can be a gift to others rather than an obligation. Maybe you can realize that there's no need to put yourself into debt this time of year. And maybe you can reevaluate how you have come to view this time of year, if it's been difficult for you. So imagine it's early January, and you know that you've just spent the past few weeks energizing yourself for the new year, visioning what is possible, nurturing yourself and others, getting enough rest. All of the things that enable you to step forward into the new year fully engaged, fully ready to begin creating the best year of your life. And I invite you to set an intention now to just say yes to that idea and to do one thing each day to encourage that feeling, that experience in the new year. That yes, this is my year. And I invite you to own that intention with me as we say together, and so it is. And as we become aware of our breathing again and come back into the awareness of the room, let us listen to this beautiful music.
to receive. I am opening.
Thank you. The Coles featuring Bill on keyboards. Thank you, Bill. Good morning. So usually this Sunday in December I talk about how to do prayer treatment, and that's what we're going to do again. Because I find it is probably the preeminent methodology that we teach in our teaching for realizing the life you desire. It's not the only one. Certainly meditation and other things are important. Dr. Holmes discovered prayer treatment, sort of developed it early on in his studies. He was, as you may or may not know, he was an actor. And a lot of what actors did in those days was you would go from town to town and read plays, because a small town didn't have a big theater. They couldn't afford, sets and all that. So one actor would go and read all the different parts and take on different voices. But it would basically just be someone standing in front at a podium. And he did that quite a bit in New England. And it's said that he was at an audition, actually waiting for an audition in a waiting room, and there was a copy of Emerson's essays on the table, and he picked it up and started reading it. And one version of the story says he took the book with him when he left, and over the next several days devoured Emerson's essays. And after that, he found his way into a Christian Science group and studied for a while in New England under Christian Science. And he developed what we call spiritual mind treatment, kind of out of a combination of those two things. And he felt that what we needed was a technique to speak our truth into the law, into a lawful universe that would always respond. So he differed the term treatment from prayer, because prayer we usually think of as we're asking a being outside of ourselves or something outside of ourselves to respond, to do something differently than it had done yesterday. But treatment, he said, is making a demand on a lawful universe. It's setting in your own consciousness a greater degree of receptivity to good by declaring it so. And he developed the techniques. And the first time he used it with someone else, it was backstage at a show, and another actor had stage fright. And Ernest went up and did a treatment for him, and the actor was able to go on right away without the debilitating fear. So let's talk a little bit about that. Am I on here? You may have to advance for me, because don't tell me what to do. I'll just do this. Norman Vincent Peale said, prayer doesn't change things for us, it changes us for things. And I think that really captures the essence of what is the difference between what we might call traditional kinds of prayer and prayer treatment or treatment. Is that all I'm trying to do when I do a treatment is change my mind. I'm not trying to get anything beyond me to shift. See? When I was little and was taught how to pray, I was taught you get down on your knees and you prayed to God or the saints or somebody to give you something, to do something. So I would pray for something I wanted, a new toy or something, or I'd pray that that the nun forgot to bring the math test in on Friday or something like that. And it was kind of and I would just pray and ask for it, and if it happened, it happened. If it didn't, it didn't. If it didn't happen, I really wanted it, I might start to bargain. I'd say, well, if you give me this, I won't do this anymore, or I will go to church more, or whatever, So it became kind of a barter and exchange situation in my own mind. But I wasn't expecting really to change anything when I prayed. I was asking a deity to change its mind or his mind, really, is what I was doing. You didn't give me the bike yesterday, give it to me today, kind of a thing. So prayer doesn't change things for us, it changes us for things. We call it consciousness. Consciousness is your belief system, the set of beliefs you have on the subconscious level about yourself and reality and everything else. And those beliefs tend to be the law of our lives. Matter of fact, they are. They control how we perceive things. They control pretty much everything about what happens to us and how we feel about what happens to us and things like that. So when we talk about consciousness, you know, we talk about, I treat not for the thing, but I treat for the consciousness of the thing. And when I have the consciousness of the thing tends to show up in my life without a lot of energy or effort being put into it. So whatever's in your life, easily and naturally, you would say you have the consciousness of that. Whether it's good or bad is another story. Because we can have the consciousness of something that isn't good for us or is negative or you know, causes pain or suffering. So what we want to do in prayer treatment is we want to elevate our consciousness about things, about ourselves, about life. We want to learn to expect more. And I'm not necessarily talking about more in quantity, although that may be part of the deal, but mainly more in quality. You know, this isn't about getting everything, because, you know, what if you had everything? Where would you put it? So it's not about getting everything. Jim Carrey recently said some people have to get really wealthy so they can see that that's not the answer, because they won't believe it unless they experience it. You know, because so many of us were conditioned in our culture to think, well, if I only had, you know, that, if I only had enough money to buy that car or that house or take that vacation or, you know, whatever it would be, then I'd really be happy. And the truth is that, yeah, that can give you some joy, but it rarely lasts because, you know, things wear out. I don't know if you've noticed that. How many things do you have in your possession now that you really, really wanted? And now you maybe don't even pay attention to them. Maybe they become a burden. You're paying to keep them in a storage locker somewhere. You know. I was just reading an article the other day where hoarding is becoming more prevalent in our culture. Where people keep, there was a couple of new studies done where, you know, people amass all kinds of stuff. Usually most of it's junk, although it doesn't have to be. You know. And there are all these kind of outrageous examples of hoarders, but there's also a lot of people that, you know, may be hoarders that you would never know unless you went into your house. Hoarders don't invite people over, as a rule, because you have to climb through the tunnels to get into the house, you know. Well, what is that? That's a sense, what causes someone to be a hoarder, which is now, by the way, a recognized psychological disorder in the DSM-5, is the sense that I can't throw that away, I might need it. I can't give that away, I might need it someday. And that might be receipts, or it might be plastic bags, or it might be cat food cans. Or it might be unopened boxes from QVC. A friend of mine inherited a home, and when he went into the home, 7 of the 8 bedrooms were piled from floor to ceiling with unopened QVC boxes. That's strange, isn't it? Yet we can be hoarders without being really messy hoarders too, you know? It's kind of interesting. Dr. Maureen Hoyt once gave a talk called You Are Your Refrigerator. And what she talked about was, if you look at your refrigerator inside and out, it probably is a reflection of your life. You know, there's stuff kind of stuck in the back that's, you know, growing mold. Stuff you don't want to look at, you know, or whatever it is, and what's on the outside of the refrigerator, and you could do kind of a comparison, you know, kind of interesting. You could say the same thing, that would extrapolate out to all of your possessions, to your home. you know, and so forth. So prayer is about, you know, partly about looking at these things and saying, gee, this is in my consciousness because it's in my life. And is this an area where I might want to up-level or upgrade my consciousness? Again, I'm trying to push the button and you can't see that. This is on, right? Prayer is the attunement of your mind with the blessing that already exists. Alan Cohen said that. Now that again, why is prayer about changing my mind and not about changing the external world? Because the external world as I experience is a result of what's already in my mind. And everything that I could ever possess in any form already exists, at least in potential. So it can only come into my experience by way of, if you will, my consciousness. Because I can, you know, two of us could have the same possession, and for one it could be a joy and the other it could be a burden. You know? So it's not the thing, it's not the object, it's the consciousness with which we relate to it that determines whether or not it's something that brings us joy or something that causes us to suffer. It's kind of interesting. But, you know, even though we know this at an intellectual level, man, when you go to the mall, there's lots of stuff you really would like to have. Right? You may know you've got too much stuff to manage, and yet, oh, I'd like to have that. You know, or go online and peruse, you know, whatever sites are there. We are human beings, we are wanting animals. We want things. We know that. We want not just things, we want relationships, we want stuff, we want all kinds of, see, you're getting stuff now, passing around in the big coffee cup. Oh, it's free, it's for me. And it's nice. It's nice to have things, but again, you know, it gets to the place where what is in my consciousness? And what is the motivation? What's really going on when I say, oh, I'm going to buy that, or I want that, or I want somebody to give me that? You know, when I've given out my Christmas list to everyone. I always put lunch in Paris on my Christmas list. Because you never know, you might get it, right? Lunch in Paris or an Amazon gift card, whatever. You know. What are you seeking? And what is seeking you? Is a good question when we think about prayer. So the steps, what Dr. Holmes realized was we want to have a psychological process that allows us to build a consciousness of receptivity to whatever it is we desire. Okay? So he developed a step series. He didn't really do it that seriously. It's sort of been evolved after him. And now we generally agree that there's two types. One is 5-step. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm pushing a button and that thing worked yesterday. Oh, you know what it is? It's not plugged in. But if you can find it and plug it in, it's that little thing with the USB drive. Otherwise, don't worry about it. Just, okay, hit it one more time. Now you're doing two things at once. So there's 5-step, which is called realization treatment, and 7-step, which is argumentative. And I think it's important to begin with argumentative treatment. Because what argumentative treatment does, it uses denial. And it's not denial in the sense that I'm denying something about myself. It's denial in the sense that when I declare something wonderful in my life, quite often there's a little voice that comes up and says, oh yeah? You ever notice that? When you declare something different, you know, oh, I could see myself driving a Bentley. Oh yeah? You can't pay for the Toyota. That voice. Right? Well, maybe an old Bentley, you know, and that rationalizes too, right? But you know that voice when you say, oh, I think, you know, I want to change my relationship for the better, and the voice says, oh yeah, here's all the arguments. You replays all your arguments you've had in the last 6 months. No, because it's, no. You took out the video cable, right? and then tried to put it back in. That's what happened because everything went off. That's all right. Don't worry about it. Just don't worry about it. Just if you can advance it, advance it. Can you advance it? Okay. We're using one screen for those of you watching online. So Holmes said, treatment is the science of inducing within mind concepts and acceptances and realizations of peace, poise, power, plenty, health, happiness, and success, or whatever the particular need might be. It's about taking it and putting it into my own mind. You see, that's what I want to do. I want to create a mental receptivity to good in whatever area or arena that I happen to be working in. Whatever that is. What is my good? Emma Curtis Hopkins says an affirmation, there is good for me and I ought to have it. Because there really isn't anything standing in the way of your good except your own acceptance of it. You might say, well, so-and-so won't let me have something. Well, that may or may not be true. You may be using that to justify your own existing belief that someone else is withholding your good. If someone is withholding your good, is it really your good? That's another question. Think about, maybe you've had a thought or two this week about something that's missing in your life that you would like to have, that you don't have enough of. Maybe it's money. Maybe it's friends. Maybe you got nowhere to go for Christmas dinner, and you think that's not fair. You'd like to have somewhere to go to celebrate. Maybe you got somewhere to go to celebrate and you don't feel like celebrating and you think that's not fair, that you have to go to this dinner you don't want to go to. Whatever it is. Maybe it's holiday season and your car just lets you know it's time to go to the repair shop for an unexpected visit. Whatever. You know the feeling when it feels like there's not enough? When it feels like you're being pressured into something you don't want to do or don't want to be having in your life? Well, here's the truth of the matter, and this is a difficult truth for many of us to accept. You're exactly where you've chosen to be in that moment. By all of the choices you've made, all of the thoughts that you've had, if I direct my thought toward not enough, not enough, not enough, not enough, and I continue to have not enough, well, there's a reason for that. What am I thinking about? Am I thinking about what's wrong, or am I thinking about what can be right? And people say, well, you're thinking about just what can be right. You're just being Pollyanna. You're just making stuff up. Really? Well, that can be true, if you're not consistent with your thoughts and your emotions. But the problem with most of us is we get a problem, and it can be a relatively small problem, and we obsess about it. We tell everyone about it. Guess what happened to me today? Or guess what so-and-so said? And we get all this energy about it, right? And we find ourselves in these difficult positions. So let's go to the next slide. So the first step of treatment, and we're going to go through these relatively quickly because I know many of you have had them, but go ahead, just fill the whole slide up, is recognition. And this is a statement that God is. And the purpose of the first step is to create a consciousness of unconditional love. So each step in treatment is designed to create a certain kind of consciousness within me so that I'm in a receptive state to make a demand. I'm not asking for anything here in treatment. This treatment is not a request. It's not a begging or a pleading. It's a statement of truth. I'm stating a greater truth than is currently in my experience. People say, well, affirmations aren't true. Well, sure they are. They're a greater truth that has not yet manifested or isn't manifesting in your experience because you're accepting something less. That's what's going on. It's very simple. It doesn't make you a bad person. Recognition, God is. So I start a treatment, I might say the nature of spirit. Spirit is universal love. Spirit is good. Spirit is joyous. Spirit is infinite. Whatever it is. grab one of these last Creative Thought magazines, because every day is a treatment done according to the format. And the purpose is to create in me that I want to feel that I am in a universe that completely supports me as the result of this particular step. That I am surrounded by, immersed in unconditional love, that's all there is. Now, why would I say unconditional love? It's because everything that can be given has been given. But I have to say yes to it. So if something's missing in my life, it's because I haven't really said yes to it. I may have said I want it, but that's not the same thing as saying it's mine, is it? Because quite often what goes with I'd like to have that in my life is the little voice saying, but you don't, do you? See? Now, we often get good at trying to ignore that voice, but as long as it's active, the little voice, by the way, is my current consciousness speaking to me. When I say, money flows to me like water from a faucet, as an affirmation, the little voice says, oh yeah? And then replays all the bills that are overdue, or whatever it is. Whatever the current reality is. It's just letting me know current reality. That's really all it's doing, which is good. I want it to do that. Next slide. Which is denial. Go ahead and just do one more. One more. Okay. Denial is where the little voice comes up and says, oh yeah, no it's not, and I say no. That's no longer the case. I might say spirit is loving and joyful, and then maybe my current reality is I got an Old Testament idea of God in me. That God is judging me and angry at me and just waiting to smite me. And I'm sure I have ample evidence to prove that that's true. And I may, I never say that when I come here, but when I'm really doing my own personal work, it comes up a lot. So if I say spirit is all there is and spirit is love, and a little voice says, oh no, spirit was waiting to punish you and send you to hell. That's good. That's good to know. That's my current belief system. But then I say, no, that's not the case. I want to change the inner direction here. So let's do the next slide. See, the argumentative method, Holmes says, is a series of affirmations and denials for the purpose of building up in the mind a state of realization and acceptance. The power is in the realization, but there's also power in the argument. And I might do this at every step. The little voice comes up and says, no, 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 no. This is the way it is. And I say, no, that's not so anymore. Okay, next slide. Then I reaffirm whatever it is. Spirit is all there is. Spirit is love. God is, the romantic lover of the universe, or however I want to put that in a way that helps me to change my consciousness. Next slide. Go ahead. The purpose is to create a consciousness of the realization that, yeah, this is so. This is so. So I may get the little voice that's disagreeing with me in any one of the steps in the treatment. So let's go to the next slide. The second step is unification, or I am. The purpose to create a sense of radical self-acceptance. See, this great, loving, unconditional universe that I'm in, I'm part of. It works for me. I'm a perfect match for the universe. I deserve good simply because I exist. Quite often what happens, the reason we don't have more good in our lives, is we think we don't deserve it. And usually that's old messaging from when you were young, when you were taught culturally, religiously in school, to not think too much of yourself. Don't get a big head. Don't get too big for your shorts, or whatever the term was, by people who had been taught the same thing in their generation. And were convinced that it was dangerous for you to think too well of yourself. You see? Back up. Back up. It's okay. So I want to get a sense of not just self-acceptance, but radical self-acceptance. I can't love myself too much. Well, people say, what about people that brag about themselves? Well, they don't love themselves. They're insecure, so they have to brag, so you'll think they're okay. People that really have high degree of self-acceptance tend to be kind of quiet about themselves. They're not concerned what you think about them. A hallmark of issues with self-acceptance is when you're concerned with what other people think. Now, this doesn't mean you have no concern for that. You know, you want to pay attention to feedback. Am I being the kind of person I want to be here? But many people are conditioned, but other people, I'm afraid to leave the house because other people might not like what I'm wearing or like the way I look today. Or my hair, I woke up with bed hair, I have to stay in all day. What will people think? You know. See what I mean? So we have that conditioning. So this step is about declaring and affirming my own self-worth, my own radical self-acceptance, that I am worthy of whatever good I declare. So after these first two steps, you want to be in a place of deep receptivity of good, out of a sense of I'm in a universe that's unconditionally loving, and I radically accept myself in that universe. Because I'm about to make a declaration in the next step that I have something that I don't have. See? So I want to do that from the strongest consciousness possible. And again here, this is a good one for the little voice coming up in denial and saying, oh yeah? And then you replay all those horrible things you've ever said about yourself. Right? We all do it to some degree or another. What's the matter with me anyway? How can I be such a jerk? My dad used to talk about, he says, there's just a little rain cloud that follows me around and rains on me and nobody else. You know, some of us revel in our self-misery. It's really interesting. And people that tend to have that high degree of self-rage want you to feel that way too. They make sure you don't feel very good about yourself when you're around them. They're toxic. Toxic people cannot accept who they are. And they're not really toxic people. They've just come to believe they are. So they act like it. We have to act like the person we believe ourselves to be until we change that. So the next step, there's a quote here. It says, Ernest says, as we deal with our own individuality, we are dealing with the universal, which is spirit, which has projected out of itself that which is like itself on a miniature scale. Unless we have this understanding, we shall be working much of the time on the basis of blind faith. So what he's saying is here, the universal is projecting itself into you as you, and you become the lens through which it shines. And just like the lens on a projector, it has to be in focus for it to shine accurately with what's coming through it. So treatment is about bringing ourselves into focus with who we really are at the depth of our being, which is a precious cosmic self. The perfection that is the essence that existed before you were physically conceived, and that carried through that process into biological form, which tends to, by its nature, be a little bit distorting. But as we learn to clarify, so spiritual growth is all about clarifying that lens, becoming a more clear expression of what's already true about you, not about adding more to yourself. So the third step is where we're actually making a statement of realization. This is the essence of the treatment. This would be the affirmation that starts the whole thing. I easily and naturally generate all the wealth I need so that I have enough to spare and enough to share. That might be one thing. I easily and naturally attract people into my life that I am able to form deep and powerful friendships with. I always expect the best when I walk into a business meeting. Anything like that. So that's basically where you visualize the ultimate outcome of whatever it is you're treating for. The perfect Christmas season, the great new year, the new car in the driveway, the improved relationship, the health, the healed condition, whatever it is. This is where you make that statement. visualize it, feel it, and then the little voice will come up and let you know what is current reality. Which is fine. I want to be grateful for that little voice. That little voice is letting me know kind of where I am. And I might not have known that until I did the affirmation. The affirmation actually triggers. When you make a statement of truth into the universe that is a greater statement than you are currently expressing, anything unlike it will rise to the surface within you. See, this is what a lot of people don't get about spiritual growth. All the crap has to come up. Because it's got to be released. Otherwise, you're just doing what's called spiritual bypass, which is let me do a prayer and not listen to anything. So it's got to come up and be, I don't know why I'm even holding this. I don't know. So it's got to come up and be released. I was afraid of what you'd think if I put it down. So it's got to come up and be released and be let go, or at least be exposed to the air so it can be dealt with. So it's a good thing that the little voice is reminding you of what's been going wrong lately. But recognize that's all it is. It's just letting you know current reality, and you can say thanks, but no thanks. I'm moving into a greater reality. So the next. Ernest says, when we treat, we should be specific. Whatsoever things we desire, when we pray, we should believe that we have them. If we wish money, we should ask for or mentally accept money. But remember, you want the consciousness of the thing. So the treatment, the visualization, the feeling would be, of course I have enough money for whatever it is. Prosperity is being able to have what you desire, not just what you can afford. You see, what if the question of affordability wasn't part of the deal? What most of us would do would go out and buy a whole bunch of crap, right? Give me that in 7 colors. And that's what a lot of wealthy people do. A lot of people, especially people that get new wealth, they go out and they go crazy. You see? And then after a while, maybe the light bulb begins to come on that, hey, maybe this isn't it. But see, that doesn't mean that the desired condition isn't to be in that space of prosperity. Prosperity simply means I have a freedom to choose. So being prosperous means I have good health, because poor health can limit my choices. Prosperity can mean that I have easy, good ability to relate to many different people, because otherwise my relationships are limited. So I want to be prosperous, which means I want to be free. I want to have a consciousness of naturally attracting to me whatever I need in the moment, whatever I desire in the moment, and not being attached to anything. Because I might not need the same thing in the next moment. Whatever I'm treating for today, when I get it, I may have to unload it next year. That's okay. See, it's not, when we focus on the thing, we become attached to the thing. This is kind of the essence of Buddhism. When you focus on having the consciousness and the things naturally flow into your experience as you need them, why be attached to it, everything? Because it's just going to be what you need anyway. And when you no longer need it, you can release it. So the difference in consciousness is, I don't want to, when I pray, when I do my treatment work, yeah, I may want something specific, but what I treat for is knowing that that is a natural outpicturing of my consciousness. So I don't have to focus on the thing so much as having, if I need a car that runs in my life and is reliable, I manifest that. As opposed to, there was a day when starting my car was like playing the lottery. There was about a 1 in 700 million chance that it would start on the first try. Right? That was my consciousness at the time. See? You want to up level. Next slide. Just go by this. The fourth step is gratitude. We've talked about this. I think a couple of weeks ago we talked about the idea of gratitude as a creative energy, because I want to create a consciousness of perfect expectation. So I make a statement in the treatment that I'm grateful for what is now manifesting in my life, even though I may not have seen the physical evidence of it yet. I may also express gratitude for the nature of spirit and my realization of my own radical self-acceptance. Again, I'm building a psychological process within myself so that I can accept something greater. Okay, and then the last step is release, which doesn't mean I don't think about it anymore. It means I let go. I don't start problem solving right away. I want to accept my good. And then notice when it comes up later, I want to try to be in the consciousness that I declared in this treatment. That's important. Just recognition. No, go ahead to the next slide. I think I got them all listed. So Ernest says we turn entirely away from the condition because as long as we look at it, we cannot overcome it. Now, he says in treatment, we turn entirely away from it. Doesn't mean you don't look at it the rest of your life. Okay, if you still have an issue, the issue may not go away after the first 35 treatments. But I need to look at it increasingly through the new consciousness. And it will begin to change. Okay, next. So the steps are recognition, unification, and realization are the first three. If you only get the first two down, you've got it. That I have a consciousness that God is and I am. Everything else will just fall into place. And then we do gratitude and release. Next, go ahead. Okay. And I think that might be it. Is there another slide? Oh, there is. We cannot demonstrate beyond our ability to mentally embody an idea. So what have I currently mentally embodied? That will show up. That's what's in my life now. And if there's anything that I say, I'd like to have this different, better, more, less, whatever, I have to embody a different level of consciousness in order to have that happen. So that's the essence of prayer treatment. That's why we do it and how we do it. And the genius of Holmes was learning to apply this, it's really a psychological mechanism, to the change in consciousness, because when I change consciousness, my life change. We say that the term we use is change your thinking, change your life. Because my thinking, past thinking, has created this life I'm in now, which may be fine, but I'd like to have maybe a little bit better. There's always some refining to do, right? Sometimes there's some major overhauling to do. And how do you do it? You change your thinking. You change your thinking. You up level, up level, up level. And the more treatment you do in practice, the more you will notice throughout the day when you're thinking in the opposite direction. You'll become aware, uh-oh, I'm going down a wrong path. I'm wallowing in negativity right now, you know. Do I really want to do that anymore? Can I make a choice for a different direction here? That's what we want to learn to do as we go along. Next slide. And I think that's it. Okay. So this is kind of an update. Creative thought is a good place to get examples. There are treatments in the Science of Mind textbook. There's a whole chapter in my book, Sacred Thinking, on how to do prayer treatment. And I hope you take advantage of all those resources. Thank you, and namaste. Thank you. And once again, the Coles. Amazing that they are.
Thank you. Thanks, Dr. Jim. Like I said, it's a season thing, and I think when we get to December, some of us, you start reflecting on, next year and the past year. So this song is called Get Me Through December. And it's not even funny at all. It's not a funny song or anything, but I thought you guys would laugh because it's good, right? Get me through December.
the sky that brings forth the rain, as the changing of seasons prepares me again for the long bitter nights and the wild winter's day. My heart has grown cold, my love stored away. My heart has grown cold, my love stored away. I've been to the mountain, left my tracks in the snow, where souls have been lost and the walking wounded go. I've taken the pain no girl should endure. Faith can move mountains, of that I am sure. Faith can move mountains, of that I am sure. Just get me through December. I promise I'll remember. Just get me through December so I can start again. No divine purpose brings freedom from sin, and peace is a gift that must come from within. I've looked for the love that will bring me to rest, feeding this hunger, beating strong in my chest, feeding this hunger, beating strong in my chest. Just get me through December. I promise I'll remember. Just get me through December so I can start again. Just get me through December. I promise I'll remember. Just get me through December so I can start again.
Thank you. Beautiful. Thank you so much for being here today. Replacing Andy. Thank you. Well, let's know the truth. Right here and right now, I step into a greater realization that God is all there is. That Spirit, that God, whatever term I use, is pure love expressing as all of creation, including me. I know that I am one with this expression, that I am of the divine heritage, that I am worthy of good in all areas of my life, and I accept this more fully today than ever before. I know that this spiritual community, the Center for Spiritual Living Simi Valley, is a divine idea, and that we are healthy, prosperous, joyous, and celebratory as we move through this holiday season into a new year that brings all kinds of amazingly wonderful unknowns. Let us be in a place to embrace what is new, to embrace what is good, to embrace what is healthy, and to embrace what is wise. Declaring that this is so with deep gratitude, I release this word lovingly into the creative field that we call mind, knowing it is done unto us as we believe, and together we say, and so it is.
I am so glad am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
And yes, we are so blessed. A couple of quick things. We didn't mention in the announcement, I don't think, the holiday candle lighting service will be on Monday, the 22nd of December at 7 o'clock. So we'll have, if you want to bring a dessert to share afterward, that would be great. And Dorianne and I are in need of boxes to move with. So if you have any boxes around that you're looking to get rid of, we prefer they be empty. You can drop them by the center. That would be most appreciated.
No QVC boxes?
QVC's great, long as they're empty. That's all. And let's bring in the kids.
This old man, he played knick-knack on my thumb with a knick-knack, paddywhack, give your dog a bone. This old man came rolling home. This old man, he played two. He played knick-knack on my shoe with a knick-knack, paddywhack, give your dog a bone. This old man came rolling
Spider-Man.
home. This old man, he played three. He played knick-knack on my knee with a knick-knack, paddywhack, give your dog a bone. This old man came rolling home.
All right. Good looking group today. Wow. Who's going to share? Hi. Come on up. Come on, Johnny.
Look at my jacket, Doctor.
It's pretty cool. Please stand by. Tell us your name.
Johnny.
Johnny, is this on? Check 1, 2. Yeah, it's on. Okay.
We talked about Hanukkah, the festival of lights, and compared to us, that we are one, and we are in love, light, beauty, joy, peace, life, inspiration.
Thank you very much. Let's close with a peace song and then we'll have a potluck.
Peace is frightful, but the fire is so delightful. And since we're no place to go, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. It doesn't show signs of stopping, but I brought